Hello everyone, welcome to the first ever episode of our podcast. Now before we get into the nitty gritty, I think we should just kick off with a little bit of an introduction about ourselves, just so you can get to know us a little bit. So Becca, I think you should take the lead on this one. Everyone wants to know.
My name is Becca. I'm a social media manager, an appaholic through and through. I have too many apps, so many pages of apps. Yeah. People, when I show them my phone, get a little bit scared.
Yeah, I was scared at first. So, my name's DAFFIE. I am a behaviour analysis therapist and I'm just a psychology enthusiast, really. I'm not a massive app collector like Becca over here, but I feel like I have the important apps that you may need every day, and I've got a few apps that Becca has suggested to me. So, I've got like maybe 2 pages of apps. That's good.
2 pages.
Yeah.
I can't even get my head around that.
Oh, how
2
many
pages.
How
I'm
many
like,
pages of apps do you have right now? Wait, what's the maximum?
I don't know. I think I have about 10. I think you can go up to 12. I think.
I'm speechless.
But I'm speechless. When you say you've got 2 pages,
They're in.
how do you do anything?
They're in folders.
What do you do?
They're in folders. You know.
They're in folders. Yeah. Okay. That is a place I fall down. I have a couple of, 2 of my pages are organised, I'd say. And then there was an attempt to organise the rest. And there was just too many. I was like, I can't do this. I can't. No.
And you know what? That's why we've made this, to get to decide what stays and what goes.
Exactly. What stays, what
That's
goes. We're going to find
what
out.
We're about.
Hopefully, yes, by the end of this, I'll have a much lighter phone and more memory to play with, because that's suffering right now. Big time. So every week we will be looking at a different category of apps. So, for example, wellness apps or organisation apps, money, creativity, all sorts. You think of it, like we're going to be doing an episode on it. So, DAFFIE, do you want to tell everyone what this week's focus is on?
Yes, so this week's focus is going to be on Huji and Dazz.
We would also just like to say, before we delve in, if you can give us a rating and subscribe to us wherever you're listening, whether that's on iTunes or Spotify, where else, Anchor, wherever you are, follow or subscribe. As we've mentioned, we're going to be looking at Huji and Dazz. So both are quite similar in the end result that you can get, but there are a few differences between them. So first of all, Huji, the base app is free. There are some in-app purchases if you want to be able to change the watermark and pull in photos that you haven't taken within the app itself. But the main vibe is that it looks like analog film, so it looks like it's from a disposable camera. It's very heavily centred around 1998 vibes. So the default setting is that the timestamp will be 1998. You can change that to the actual date, but it's a bit of a throwback. And the kind of novelty factor of this app is that when you go to take a photo, you kind of will hold your phone and operate it a bit like you would an actual physical disposable camera. That's cool. It's nice.
So Dazz is
nice.
Also free. This is marketed as a retro film camera of the 80s, and it's really realistic with its film photography.
Yes, it's got so much more customization. I think one of the primary difference between Huji and Dazz is that Huji, you open it, snap a pic, the effects are random every time, so the light leaks and the level of dustiness on the lens and stuff, and you just kind of snap and go.
You're done.
Dazz, you can drill down a lot further, different types of camera. Do you want it to look like a Polaroid, or do you want it to be black and white film, or do you want to put a fisheye lens on it? You can do all sorts with it. DAFFIE, I know that you've downloaded Dazz, and that you've had a little play with it. Do you, at first glance, do you like it?
You know what, Becca? I'm going to say no, okay?
You don't?
If I'm going to say a black and white answer, I'm going to say no. Only because Dazz is definitely for someone, basically you. Okay, so I'm like, I am more in love with Huji because it's literally, as you said before, it's a wham bam done.
Yeah,
that's why I love it more.
No, that's really true. Actually, that is very true. Dazz it's one of those apps, and like this applies to some other things as well, where you've almost got too many options sometimes, and then you're like, well, which one should I pick? What do I do? What I can't decide, because they're all nice. Like I will say that if you're looking at the actual different camera options and stuff, I don't think there's a bad one on there, but it's like, well, which one should I use? I don't know. So that's good to know that you don't like it.
Yeah, I guess listeners get both sides.
Yeah, they do. So tell me about Huji then, and why you like it.
Right, so Huji, I just feel like the colours are really vibrant, but then you could flip that as well, like the same. But I do like the outcome.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point actually. I think when you're scrolling through Instagram, you can quite quickly pick out if anyone has uploaded a photo using Huji. Like my Instagram feed is all Huji. It's kind of like, it's great, but if you wanted to look really, I don't know, unique, you might kind of steer away from the app a bit. I think, to be honest, I think there was like a bit of a time where it felt like everyone was using Huji for a few weeks, and then it's calmed down a little bit. But, you know, Dazz is quite good because I don't think you would necessarily be able to tie a photo taken with that app to something you see on Instagram and just be like, oh, that's a cool effect, that looks nice.
Yeah,
it wouldn't scream this was taken on Dazz on it. So you're kind of like, you know, I would say you use apps a normal amount.
Yeah,
you're not an appaholic. If there was something that you would like want to change about Huji, or like, is there anything that you'd improve about it?
I think probably to reduce the vibrancy of the colours. I think that would be a good sort of feature, because like I said before, the colours, they're really vibrant, yes, and I'm in love, but every photo turns out to look the same. And as you said before as well, again, you know that it comes out looking like all the rest. So for you to have the option to reduce the vibrancy or just fiddle about with exposure or contrast, just a tad.
That's a really good point. And two things it's worth noting. Dazz does give you some of that exposure. Obviously you can layer up some of the different effects as well, but just gonna plug a future episode that we haven't recorded yet. There is a hack, well, not a hack, but there are things that you can do to Huji photos with a couple of different editing apps I would recommend, but you have to wait and find out what they are.
Right, I see.
But no, I think it's a very good point though about, you know, I think you can turn light leaks on and off, but could you tone it down a bit just in the app? Or how do you feel about the fact that it's random every time and then you don't get to, it's like a lucky dip, I feel like.
I know, sometimes I try and put the photo through again just so I can get a result that I like more. But I do also at the same time like of seeing, you know, what it's going to come out with. You have Dazz, don't you?
I do.
I've got a question for you. Do you think that it's worth it?
Do I think it's worth it? I think I got it because I thought I would end up using it a lot more. I was curious about the different cameras that I like couldn't access yet, and just having more freedom within the app. And I was like, oh, it's not that expensive, because I think it's just under £5 for a year, which is pretty good.
Oh, okay, that's not
for a pro version. But obviously then you have to pay again. Like, I think it renews every year, which is a bit. I am surprised I haven't used it more now I have the whole app. And I think part of it requires a little bit of, it's just not as quick.
Yeah.
The actual, you know, if once you've picked your setup, then of course that bit's quick. But Huji is just like, bam, there you go, sorted, done. So now we've covered the ins and outs of both apps. Hopefully, if you're listening, you've kind of got a good feel for both. I'd be really interested to know, actually, and you can let us know on socials.
Yes.
Links in the description. If you are a user of Huji and Dazz or one or the other, if you've heard of them, or if not, please tell us.
Yeah, please do.
Please tell us which you prefer. But I think it's time for an important question, Daffy.
It is, isn't it? Now, you will know that the Appaholics Podcast is basically for Becca, for her to really sort through her apps and figure out which app she wants to delete and which app she wants to keep, what stays and what goes, right?
I have to keep Huji. I love it
All
too
right.
much. It's my whole Instagram feed. I'm obsessed. I also have loads of photos in the Huji app which aren't anywhere else, which is a admin problem I need to deal with and back them up somewhere. But I just really like it. It's quick, it's simple. It's a good base that I like to use and edit from. Dazz, I feel like I'm betraying it, but
you know what?
I just don't
use
use it enough.
Interesting? Dazz is more. You pay a bit more.
That's true, and it's a subscription, whereas
Yeah.
Huji is just a one-off
Right.
payment. I think I will keep Dazz for the rest of my subscription time, which I think is a year. I'll dabble a bit more and see if I suddenly start using it again. But I kind of think I probably won't.
I know Dazz, they suddenly come out with the best camera ever, and you might want to keep it.
That's a good point.
Just have to wait and see.
And they do hold that promise, actually. I go on the app so rarely.
Yeah.
This sounds really bad. I go on it so rarely that every time I open it, they have added a new thing.
Oh, they have.
So that's exciting.
Right.
And they stick by that promise. The most recent one I saw was like a star filter. So have you seen that kind of story filter which makes everything look really sparkly?
I think so, yeah.
So it's kind of like that. So anything that's got light hitting it in your photo will have this big sparkle. But it looks quite nice. I think the one on Instagram can sometimes look a bit not great. But no shade at that filter. But yeah, I will keep an eye on the filters and the cameras that they come out with.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my final decision.
All right.
So they're sort of
I'm happy with
both
that.
staying. I feel like I've learnt something about my app choices today. And what about you?
Me, I downloaded Dazz to just play about with it for today's episode. And I'm going to delete it now. I think it's just...
Shade.
You know what? It's not for me. I'm not too into... Like I said before, it's just not for me.
That's fair.
But Huji is. I shall be
That's
keeping
fair.
Huji. I paid for it. I never pay for apps. I paid for it.
Endeavour.
All right, that brings us up to the end.
Yep, that's our first episode. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please, as we said, let us know how you find it, and come and follow us on social, where you can get some extra app content throughout the week.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening today. So you can follow us personally as well on Instagram and Twitter. So my handle is @DAFFIE.
And you can follow me @Becca Social on all of the platforms. I'm on all of them. It's my job, so I will be there. So come say hi, and link is in the description as well. So, all right then, gang. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.